Call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rahava Kakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for pushing 100% truth who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that have been scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom. This is Matazah Lacham coming back at you again with even worse breaking news. Okay, for you people that are bitching, whining, and complaining about breaking news, right? Okay, yeah. Listen to this.
Businesses, of course, rely on China for manufacturing and sourcing their products. U.S. imports from China last year hit nearly $440 billion. And according to the logistics platform Flexport, 95% of those goods are transported by sea.
We've seen a 60 to 65% drop in ocean freight from China to the U.S. It means if nothing gives, if nothing changes, he doesn't go forward with that, you're going to have massive shortages across the economy.
The United States imported $438 billion worth of goods from China in 2024. All of a sudden, most of that trade is being cut off. Tariffs on Chinese goods are now so high that it no longer makes economic sense for Chinese companies to export products to us. And it no longer makes economic sense for U.S. companies to import products from China. As a result, container bookings are absolutely plummeting, and retail CEOs are warning that store shelves all over America will, quote, soon be empty, unquote. Yep, retailers will attempt to find replacement items from other sources when it's possible to do so. But in many cases, things that are made in China are not made anywhere else. As retailers run through existing inventory levels, shortages will begin to emerge. I do not believe that we should have ever started trading with China at this level, and I would love to see a day in the future when we no longer trade with China. But at this moment, we are deeply, deeply dependent on China. Nobody can deny this. Our economy literally cannot function normally without Chinese imports, and now most of those imports will no longer be coming across the ocean. Most Chinese imports fall into these 10 categories. Electrical machinery and TV parts, $124.97 billion, 28% of total imports from China. Nuclear reactor parts and mechanical appliances, $82 billion, 18% of total imports from China. Toys, games, and sports equipment, $30.03 billion, 7% of imports from China. Plastics, $19.29 billion, 4% of total imports from China. Furniture, lamps, and prefabricated buildings, $18.52 billion, 4% of total imports from China. Vehicles, $16.85 billion, 4% of total imports from China. Iron and steel, $11.98 billion, 3% of total imports from China. Optical and photographic parts, $11.88 billion, 3% of total imports from China. Clothing, $9.99 billion, 2% of total imports from China. And shoes, $9.78 billion, 2% of total imports from China. Now, did you know that China makes 80% of our toys? 80%. And if you're going to need toys later this year, you may want to stock up now. It's being reported that container shipping between China and the United States faces unprecedented disruption following the implementation of new Trump administration tariffs on U.S. imports from China, with industry leaders warning of potential widespread supply chain impacts and economic consequences that could rival the pandemic. According to Ryan Peterson, founder and CEO of Flexport, ocean container bookings from China to the United States have plummeted by over 60% in just 3 weeks since the new tariffs took effect. The dramatic decline follows the introduction of reciprocal tariffs that went into effect on April 9th, setting rates at 145% for China and 10% for all other origin points.
60 to 65% drop in ocean freight from China to the U.S. It means if nothing gives, if nothing changes, he doesn't go forward with that, you're going to have massive shortages across the economy.
You deal with countries all over the world and all across this country. And so if the tariffs aren't relaxed with China, is that a reality in your view, Ryan?
For sure, that's what's going to happen if they don't get relaxed.
I told you what I thought about this in a video that I posted yesterday. Today, I'd like to share some insights from an industry insider. Molson Hart is the founder and president of an educational toy company called Viahard. He just posted an analysis of what we're facing that is so good that I decided to share his entire Twitter post in this video. The White House has put itself and the country in a bad situation, but doesn't realize it yet. Around April 10th, China to USA trade shutdown. It takes about 30 days for containers to go from China to Los Angeles. 45 to Houston by sea, 45 to Chicago by train, 55 to New York by sea. That means that there will be no economic effects of what was done on April 10th until about May the 10th. Around that time, and it's already started to happen, trucking work is gonna dry up. Warehouses will start doing layoffs because no labor is needed to unload containers, and some products will be out of stock, reducing the need for shipping labor. All of this will start in the Los Angeles area. After about 2 weeks, it'll start hitting Chicago and Houston. Let's say the White House, after 3 weeks, changes its mind on May 31st. Hey, this isn't working out like we thought it would be. Tariffs go back to zero. Let's say China says, bygones be bygones, we'll go back to how things were. Let's say every factory in China that got screwed by their orders being canceled says the same thing. No problem, we'll make and ship. The problem is, even under the most favorable conditions of China and the factories restarting economic ties as though nothing happened, it will be at least another 30 days before economic activity is revived. And that's just in LA. In Chicago, Houston, you have to wait another 45 days. New York at that point will still be getting containers from before April 10th. They will then have 50 days, May 31st minus April the 10th, of zero economic activity at the ports, in trucking of Chinese goods, in warehousing. The whole situation is a bit like lockdowns. Once you shut down, it takes a long time to get economic activity back to where it was, if you ever can. And again, this assumes that China and its factories, which make things that you can't buy elsewhere, will start right back up again as though nothing happened, which is unlikely. It's almost like we're speeding towards a brick wall, but the driver of the car doesn't see it yet. By the time he does, it'll be too late to hit the brakes. Well, I could not have said it better myself. When we finally hit that brick wall, millions of people are gonna be extremely angry. Many are suggesting that we should just start making stuff here, and I agree with that, but the reality of the matter is that it takes a long time to construct new factories. In a subsequent post on Twitter, Molson Hart from Viahard commented on this. Lego is building a factory in the United States. They began looking for a location in 2021. They originally expected to start production in the second half of 2025. They are now forecasting 2027. So the biggest toy company in the world needed 6 years to make in America. Look, we can't wait for years until new factories are built, because we're gonna be in the middle of a full-blown crisis just months from now. For example, what are you gonna do if you need to get your vehicle repaired and the parts that you need have tripled in price or are no longer available at all? From brake pads and batteries to bumpers and sensors, many of the parts used to repair and maintain vehicles are imported. Cars.com editor-in-chief Jenny Newman told Fox Business, if those parts are hit with tariffs, Suppliers are expected to pass on the extra cost to repair shops and dealership service departments. Not only would this drive up repair bills for consumers, but it could also cause longer wait times if parts become harder to get or inventory is scaled back, Newman said. There are thousands upon thousands of supply chains that will be disrupted by ultra-high tariffs on Chinese imports. Unless we want to have a full-blown meltdown, we need to reach a deal with China. Unfortunately, the Chinese just publicly stated that no negotiations with the United States are currently happening, despite President Donald Trump recently suggesting the 145% tariff on its imports could be reduced substantially. Ministry of Commerce spokesman He Yadong said any claims about the progress of China-U.S. trade negotiations are as groundless as trying to catch the wind and have no factual basis, according to the Associated Press. The unilateral tariff increase measures were initiated by the United States. If the United States really wants to solve the problem, it should face up to the rational voices of the international community and all parties at home, completely cancel all unilateral tariff measures against China, and find ways to resolve differences through equal dialogue, he continued. We should never have allowed ourselves to become so dependent on China. Sometimes I feel like tearing my hair out because decades of very foolish decisions have put us in this position.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop the video there. Okay, and I'm gonna go to Lamentations chapter 4 verse 9, right? They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger, for these pine away stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. Right? The hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. Verse 11, He hath accomplished his fury. He hath poured out his fierce anger, and hath kindled a fire in Zion, and hath devoured the foundations thereof. Right? NLT. Those killed by the sword are better off than those who die of hunger, starving. They waste away from lack of food from the fields. Tender-hearted women have cooked their own children. They have eaten them to survive the siege. But now the anger of the Lord is satisfied. His fierce anger has been poured out. He started a fire in Jerusalem that burned the city to its foundations. So you see, the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, is the one that's orchestrating this thing at the end of the day. Okay? And a lot of people don't get that part. You know? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. You knew I was good. Right? And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. 2 weeks? 3 weeks tops? It's over. They won't be able to get back to where they ever were. Okay? The food that's there, as the man, the epic economist said, is going to triple. Goddamn loaf of bread is going to be, what, $200-300 probably. You know? Let's get Revelation chapter 6. Verse 5. And when he had opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Right? And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see that thou hurt not the oil and the wine. The oil and the wine are the elect of the house of Israel. Right? But, you know, of the house of Judah and of the house of Jerusalem. Okay? And only the elect of those individuals is the warning put out, see that you not hurt them. Right? That goes off into, now, as far as a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, you know, that penny could be whatever amount of money that they say is, besides that they're doing this deliberately to shut down the economy of America and then reinstitute the economy as it starts back, okay, after the destruction through martial law and the implementation of the Insurrection Act. That way, all they can do is push the radio frequency identification microprocessor, the CHIP, the MOTB, as the means to buy and sell by setting everything back up in a digital economy. You see, that way everything's digital. They have a ledger called blockchain that they would be able to keep track of all of your financial transactions, and if they don't agree with your financial transactions, because it's programmable money, they could program it to do whatever the fuck they want it to do, and how it applies to commerce. You see, so these individuals would be in control at the Bank of International Settlements, the World Economic Forum, what do you call it, the Club of Rome, and the Club of Rome of all of the elites of all of the different countries of the world that are gathered together with one mind to oppress you, force these things upon you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Once they push the mark of the beast, MOTB microchip, that's the only way that you're going to be able to buy and sell. Now, if they don't agree with what you're trying to purchase, whether it's bullets or gas for your car or whatever have you, your digital currency won't work. So it doesn't do you or behoove you to take the mark of the beast RFID microchip, or their Neuralink brain chip, or I forgot the name of the Synchron brain chip. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, there's competition on who can make these chips cheap and what their distance are. I mean, you're going to have criminals that are going to come up with an RFID reader to steal your money off your chip as you walk by them. Okay? See, so by the time you get to your car, you're broke, but you just got paid. Somebody just walked by you and bumped into you. Sorry about that. Like it was a pickpocket. Okay? It's going to be digital pickpockets out there doing this shit deliberately on purpose, man. Okay? Anyway. So, yeah, basically, let's go to Isaiah chapter 65, verse 13. Right? Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. And those that are going to be hungry are those individuals that do not believe in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. They ain't got a clue as to what's going to happen to them. Okay? They're pretty much finished. They really don't understand it. Okay? But, like I said before, okay, it's all that we can do, man. Trying to do everything we can to notify you, let you know what these devils are up to, what they plan on doing, okay, and how they're doing it, why they're doing it, all of it. All right. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get off this phone, or get off this lesson. Right? Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen, for the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai shall slay thee, and call his servants by another name. Okay? It says the same thing in 2nd Ezra. Right here, 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 26. And the men that are received, those that the Most High calls his chosen, shall see the destruction of Babylon the Great. Whosoever, let's start at verse 24. And at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So they're going to shut off the power. They're going to shut off your ability to be able to buy and sell, by saying that, you no longer have this ability. You can't buy, you can't sell anything, you can't do anything. It's complete control of the people. And what they're going to do is come up with a means of universal basic income, right? And this universal basic income, all that's going to do is force people into making a decision. Okay? That's what it's going to do. It's going to force people to make a decision. You ain't going to have a choice. Okay? It's either you're going to abide by their rules or you're going to die and starve to death. Like I said before, it is better for you to be killed by the sword, right, than to be stricken for want of the field through famine and starvation, right? They had the same thing jump off in Samaria. I think it's 1 Kings chapter 8, if I'm trying to remember, right? And, like I said before, they were selling a horse's head for 5 pieces of silver, and selling bird dung for 6 pieces of silver. Okay? That's how bad it's going to get, man. You seen the man is just telling you, but Donald Trump, he wants to be Mr. I'm the guy, I'm going to save America, I'm going to make America great again. You ain't going to make America great again. This is the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's. This is his plan, this is his movie, and you are not going to be made great again. You can hang it up. Okay? It's over for America and American citizens. All that do as you want, do as thou wilt. That shit's over, man. So, anyway. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 25. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. Those that suffer from Stockholm Syndrome, right? That love this world, right? Verse 26, and the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. Right? So the inhabitants would be the chosen, that the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai chose to receive the salvation that was promised them, right? The adoption, the promises of salvation, the giving of the law, the services of the Most High, right? That only belongs to Israelites. It doesn't belong, God loves everybody. No, it doesn't. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 27, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which has been so long without fruit, shall be declared. So, I'm going to go ahead and get off this video right now. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach. Shalom.